Hey, welcome back everyone. Looks like we're live on YouTube and on Twitch. Yay. It's always good when both of the streams actually start up correctly. So, I wasn't planning on streaming today, but I was working on video editing and recording some voiceover. I was planning on taking my little Zoom H2 audio recorder somewhere slightly quieter. It actually stopped just before I started the stream, but there was a whole bunch of like heavy equipment noise coming from outside. And it looks like it just stopped, but there's just like the regular amount of noise. Anyway, I had been operating this audio recorder off of just as a USB audio device for a while, just doing my recording directly in the editing software, in this case Premiere. But this thing also records to SD cards, so I wanted to try that for this particular thing. Unfortunately, there was some corrosion in the battery contacts, so I figured since I had to open this thing up to do some cleaning anyway, I would just make a quick little teardown stream and record some of this in case I want to like release a quick like inside this particular device kind of teardown. Just as a really quick video at some point. So it seemed worth like throwing this on video and on the stream. So here we are, just a little impromptu thing. So I might have already made a mistake actually. I cleaned this thing out with some vinegar and distilled water, and I tried it out and it seemed fine, but then I noticed that there was like still some water in there because there were some nooks and crannies I'd missed. In this case, like some space around the SD card slot. And then I noticed that it was no longer turning on, so I think the water might have gotten somewhere it shouldn't. So I took out the batteries and I'm giving it a more thorough cleaning, but like it's possible I might have already damaged some of the power supply circuitry by having it briefly powered on with some water on the circuit board. But it was distilled water, so less of a chance of conductivity, but like whatever junk is on the circuit board would still dissolve in the water and potentially make it conductive, which isn't good. So I'm just going to give it a thorough cleaning and we can talk about the circuit, and if there is a problem we can try to fix it. It'll be that kind of stream. It is so much quieter here, just now that serendipitously, the reason I was doing all this was to get away from the noise, and now that I'm actually streaming and trying to fix my audio recorder, it's nice and quiet in here. Alright, so I already took this thing apart, obviously. I'll get some footage of it back in one piece once we put it back together, but this is what it looks like. This little sticker, I guess, comes off for disassembly too. This has been my faithful little audio recorder for a while. I've done a lot of my video voiceovers on this thing. You can use it as a USB device, you can USB power it, or you can run it off of AA batteries and record to SD card. The level of like audio quality is alright. Like it's not the quietest thing in terms of just like background levels of hum, but it's pretty good. And I noticed while disassembling it, there's this interesting little spring-loaded conductive clip here to actually ground the front screen on the microphone, which is interesting. Also, as I was disassembling this, this circuit board was screwed into this half along with the microphone assembly, and actually the other way around, because of course the battery contacts were going into the battery case. So that was in there like this, and then these two halves were connected via this flat flex cable, which I had to take out during disassembly. But that's as far as I've gotten. I'm just taking it apart. I've gotten to these circuit boards. At that point I was like, I should just be doing this on video, so here we are. So I'm just going to finish the disassembly and try to clean it, see if we can get this working, and then maybe I'll see if we can just like do a little dive into the circuit and see what else is going on here, in case, that might be interesting. So the first thing is I just want to get the rest of the circuit boards out. Got a couple more flat flex, one for the buttons it looks like, and one for the LCD. less pointy than that tweezer. It might be easier to take out once I get this board free. Looks like the board's held in partially by this clip and then partially by some plastic pegs on the surface. This is an alright microphone. I don't know if I would completely recommend this model. I think there are newer models that are a little nicer than this one. It takes forever to boot when you first turn it on, which is kind of annoying. It's like, why does this need to be so? And yeah, the audio quality is okay, but it could be better. Oh, there is some corrosion over here on. Wow. They have some custom branded chip over here, and there's actually some stuff that looks like maybe leftover battery-related corrosion on this chip that might have dripped over there. That's likely a problem. Let's make sure we can clean that off. Alright, now that this is free, I think I can unplug this. Oh, it's going to be tough to avoid having gunk between the screen protector and the screen, isn't it? Yeah, so for anyone just joining, this is my usual audio recorder, which I usually run off of USB, and I was going to do some recording away from my desk for a voiceover, and had the opportunity to clean up some battery corrosion, so that's where we are. Alright, we have these little tiny spring assemblies too. Jeez. Let's turn on the microscope monitor. So yeah, I think there's even a tiny bit of corrosion on that wire. A little bit of green stuff. There we go. So that seat's in there. Let's put this piece aside. Yeah, what is this? I mean, obviously it's got their logo on it, but like, how custom is this? Is this completely an ASIC? This is on their user interface board, which should suggest that maybe it's just a microcontroller. Well, let's start by cleaning this, because that's an obvious problem. The desk is a huge mess here too. Another obvious problem. mounting this in a vise so that we can actually see it. And I'm going to tape down that flat flex to get that out of our way. Unless it comes off, but no, that's bonded to the LCD. I don't really have much to attach this to other than maybe the table or something, which I don't really want to stress it that much. So I'm just going to try to maybe loosely attach this over there to get it slightly out of the way. Delicious. Yeah, that's not good for it. It's a Zoom MPU. Yeah, that's what's written on it. That's cool. These sleeves are not going to do me any favors. Well, yeah, so what is this connected to? I mean, I'm assuming it's a microcontroller. This ZIF socket right here is the LCD, which seems to be going through. These are likely like pull-down resistors, and then they would also go right over here. So this is going to have, this is probably just a rebranded ARM microcontroller of some sort. I don't know. What do the test points look like? Anything that looks like a debug port? Wow, did they like not use any of these pins? I don't see those routed anywhere. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just a programmed microcontroller and they don't want anybody to know what kind it is because, you know, deterring the clones or something. And that's the, oh, that's the user interface. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a whole other board on this thing. The other board has a lot of analog stuff, but it does seem to have some memory on it. So I wouldn't expect this to be a system on a chip. I would expect it to be more like a user interface controller. But maybe it also does the SD card stuff. Anyway, let's get this thing cleaned up. See if it's still got some life in it, I hope. Let's try distilled water first. It's somewhat soluble in distilled water. Let's switch to the brush. Oh, is this brush going to be covered in flux? It feels clean. Thinking about, can I get this LCD off? It looks like the backlight is soldered onto this board. But I probably could get that off if I needed to, or if that seemed like it would help. I'm getting some bubbles there. Oh man. I guess is that battery leaking? Would that have gotten all the way down here, or could I have pushed this much of it when I was doing my first pass at cleaning? Because this is a lot. This is like more than I was expecting to find. I think I might need to use a stiffer brush. I think this brush is a little stiffer. A water damage indicator? I would not expect this product to have a water damage indicator. It's not like this thing has Apple Care, guys. Like, the reason to have one of those is if they're like doing a lot of warranty service, and I don't think this random product has that kind of program. You know, so if this is just like straight up battery corrosion, then using some more vinegar might help, so I'm gonna grab a little bit of that. Alright, this is just like kitchen vinegar, like white vinegar, very dilute acetic acid. Which, if this is battery leavings, that stuff is alkaline, and this will neutralize it, and then we can wash it all away with a mixture of distilled water and alcohol. Maybe this has already reacted. Vinegar is not having any effect here. Yeah, it's possible there's already an excess of acid here, actually. Guess we don't need that. I'm going to try to wash this in a tilted manner, just to wash stuff off the board. The camera is pointed over there because Tuco was hanging out outside, which I think is still the case. Yeah, I think he's still outside, but... Wait, Emily's asking if the 5th pin from the right is broken? I don't think so. I think you're just seeing some corrosion on top of the trace. We can test the conductivity. This one, right? Wait, so... I was getting a momentary connection over here because I think one of these is the other power supply rail. That's got a good connection. That's just that, 0 ohms. And that was only momentary. James says it looks like there's some battery junk stuck in the corner. I mean, if it was battery junk, it would have reacted with vinegar. That's literally what we were just testing. And I think it's maybe not, but it's hard to tell. The brush seems to be working though, so I'm just gonna keep at it with the brush and distilled water. gently clean that off too. Oh, yeah, people are saying hi to Tuco in the hall. He must still be out there. My neighbors like him. That is getting there. That's just a really annoying spot. Yeah, this has definitely been the cleaning channel lately, huh? Illusis Systems and YouTube is like, yay, more cleaning. Should we try the ultrasonic for this one? I mean, I'm definitely taking off the LCD if we throw this in the ultrasonic. How hard is it to take off the LCD? This is really drying out my skin. Alright. So it's got an SD card slot, a crystal down here, some LEDs, and this LCD with chip-on-glass controller. So the LCD is just stuck onto the backlight, it looks like, with glue, and then the backlight is soldered. So we could desolder the backlight and then clean the rest of the board in the ultrasonic. That might be the way to do it. Do I have a finer brush? That would be useful, wouldn't it? I don't know if I do. I think this might be the best brush I've got handy. I think if we take off the LCD and the microphones, the rest of the electronics can just all go in the ultrasonic for a little while. Which I can set up off camera because I know it's super annoying right over here. Well, off microphone at least. Yeah, let's warm up the desoldering gun for this because I think that is the way to get this off. This is one of the good old S993A desoldering guns that you've probably seen on YouTube before. This is like the lowest quality electronics. I mean, it works, but it's not well made at all. Like the power cord is probably all right, but slightly sketchy. But you don't have to plug it in very long because it's 100 watts. Actually, while this heats up, I am going to wash any residue off my hands and then put gloves on, because I think I might actually be getting some of this battery use stuff on my hands, and that's kind of irritating. I hate to go. cat has made his presence known. Whoa. Thanks, tracking loop. Two goes down here. Can I catch up with him? Where is he? I think now he's just going to litter box or something like that. Oh, Michael's asking about the PCB vise in chat. That is called a stick vise. They're very handy for doing stuff on camera because they're so flat. That does sound like Tuco's litter box routine. Cheers. Alright. I think we can try to do some removal here. Is it warm? Does it help if we tin this a little? Can't quite tell if this is warm. Oh yeah, it's pretty warm. The board is not supported very well, so I was not pressing down on it especially confidently, but yeah, here we go. Alright, hopefully that did not damage anything in the process. Did not quite clear that hole out. Let's see if that's good enough. Yeah, I think that, I don't know if the combination of the heat and the water might make some of the layers in this backlight start to come apart from each other in the future. Yeah, that top one is not quite clear. I think I might actually need to put enough solder in there that I can get some suction, or maybe just roll this other soldering iron and push it through. Waiting for this one to warm up. Emily's asking if these things get, I assume you mean the solder pump thing. They are absolutely the perfect tool for certain kinds of component removal. So they will just make extremely fast work of connectors and big electrolytic capacitors and stuff like that. I'm not being as aggressive with this as I typically would be because A, the board is not well supported, so I can't really press on it, and B, I'm worried about overheating this backlight assembly because it's got a bunch of parts that I'm already seeing like react to the heat as I apply the iron there, so I'm trying to be really gentle. But yeah, normally if you're taking stuff off that's a little bit sturdier, you can just take them off extremely fast. I'll have to do a demo in a sec. I guess while this is still plugged in, I might as well use some of that heat for something. Oh, Tuco wants attention in the hallway now. Oh, yeah, there is actually a bunch of solder right there. I might be able to get that with the sucker now. I did it. Tuco, I hear you, boy. He wants me to just follow him anywhere. And I mostly will, but sometimes I'm busy. Oh, that is slightly still stuck a little on the bottom. Yeah, I hear you. Always be beeping, said the tools in my shop. Okay, now that that's free, yeah, let me go grab a board from the scrap bin and just demo how well this tool usually works when I'm not trying to be quite so ginger with the parts. Oh yeah, just a good question from Leo about just how this backlight even works. It looks like a string of LEDs on one side and side of an acrylic block, but we'll take a look at that under the microscope. Let's see, what do we got? We could take a header off of a dead Arduino shield. We could take some ports off of a whatever this was that I found at DEF CON. This stuff hasn't disassembled yet. Here's another broken Arduino. Oh, let's take a USB 3 port off. That seems like something you might actually want to salvage. Like, I'm not saving headers off of a broken Arduino. Why is this in my junk bin? I think it is actually just completely broken. Oh yeah, you can see like a little skid mark under the chip. I think this is a USB 3 controller that actually just popped at some point. Good old Fresco logic, not like I actually wanted to deal with their shit anyway. Yes, there's like a slight burn mark you can see under there. I think this board was just getting hot and not enumerating. And then a little bit fluxy on the top. Some inductors, USB 3. So if you're actually trying to salvage stuff from this, you'd get rid of this bracket first, and then just go to town on it with one of these tools, maybe. Oh, Took, don't join me on the desk. Took, don't join me on the desk. Took, no, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Ugh. I love that cat, but I need to keep him out of trouble. Can I get him on camera at least? Nope. Hi. He's like behind all that stuff now. Oh, right, up and down. Driving. This will be a little easier once the computer is helping me out more. Yeah, I think he's just behind there now. Oh, no, nope, he's emerged. Yeah, cat on rack. Perfect. Technical difficulty sign with Tuca biting camera cable, right? He actually does love to chew on HDMI cables, so that would be kind of appropriate if I could get video of, or picture of him doing, you know, like caught red-handed, as it were, HDMI faced. So yeah, I'm going to try to support this a little better and just demo quickly what this tool usually does. This is the S993A, which is a pretty low-cost 100-watt desoldering pump that you can order from overseas via AliExpress or eBay, or probably via Amazon if you wanted to pay more for some reason. So it's pretty hot. You have to give it a little bit of soak-in time to both melt the joint and then like have the heat permeate a little bit. Right now it is not melting, which means maybe it would be useful to add a bit of tinning to help with heat conductivity. I'm also noticing that that pin is maybe a little bit large for the nozzle I've got, so actually technically I might want to switch to a larger nozzle if I were desoldering a bunch of things of that size. See if I can get away with it anyway though. Yeah, that kind of works, but not very well. Actually, I would want to switch nozzles to a larger one if I were actually trying to desolder those. Did that work? I think I just took this crystal off. It might still be holding on. Yeah, and then actually right there I think I hit some pins which were a little smaller. So like one limitation you're seeing already is that this is very sensitive to the size of the pins. If you use it on pins that it's like got a good nozzle for, then it works really well. If it's too big, then you don't really get a seal at all. If it's too small, then what did go wrong there? I think I actually just need to give the right one a little more time on this small crystal. That's just barely holding on. Yeah, alright, maybe that one's going to be stubborn. Let's see if these connectors are any better. Oh, is this going to want the slightly larger nozzle too? Maybe I just picked a bad example. I should just get a board with some electrolytic caps or something. That's actually what this nozzle is perfect for. First couple on my stack here, all the caps are surface mount. Oh, here's... I don't know why you would want to salvage these, but here's one. See if I have any luck with these pin sizes. I think I have other nozzles for this. I just have been lazy and usually use this one because it's the size of stuff like those backlight pins that I actually want usually. Alright, so it's melted, a little bit of preheat. That seems clean. Let's do that some more. See, that capacitor's already falling out of the board. Same with that one. And this LED is also going to come right out. So yeah, if you have the right tool for the job you're doing, then this could actually make it super fast and all of these parts will just like fall right out. Like that. So that's what this is actually really good for. Oh. The gimbal's trying to reach Tuco via the South Pole. is he now? Oh yeah, recapping a board is totally another thing that this tool would be perfect for. If you had like any kind of board that's worth recapping, so like, you know, like vintage computer power supplies and stuff like that would probably be good bets. And yeah, if you're using the right nozzle for the job, then this can actually take out capacitors really fast. So yeah, I'm gonna unplug it now. This doesn't even look like a real electrical plug, right? It looks like what is this? But whatever. If you're gonna keep an eye on it while it's plugged in, then it seems like a decent tool. Alright. So, cleaning time. We got one of these boards pretty much prepared for cleaning. So, oh, I should have dried that off earlier. Didn't realize that was wet. There's some moisture on the front of the LCD. Oh, cool. Thanks for the video recommendation. I don't know if I've seen that one yet, but that seems like a good thing to have a video about. Reverse handle. Yeah, that does look a little strange, doesn't it? I'm just thinking about the ergonomics of that. That is odd. Alright. This is the LCD module. It has this delightful flat flex leading up to the chip mounted onto the glass under this little sticker, I guess. Oh, that isn't a sticker, that's actually the back of the die, I think. I think the layer closest to you is glass, and then on the back side there's the chip and the interconnect, and that does actually look like there's a sticker covering the die on the front side. I wonder if that's actually to prevent light from hitting the die. I wonder if we could see the LCD controller if we took that off. There's a solder ball stuck under there. Or maybe that's actually reinforcing the flat flex. It does look like it's just over the chip though. My curiosity is getting the better of me here. I doubt we're going to be able to see anything, but I'm curious if this is a sticker. Oh geez, that's... Oh, that is not glass on this side. This is soft resin. Okay. So the glass is... The cover glass ends here. That's the front of the LCD. That's the cover glass. The LCD itself has, you know, the liquid crystal in between those layers. And then the back glass has this soft, like silicone infill, which would cover the interconnect, and then this is just going to be like a sticker over. So this is actually just going to be over, I guess, the front surface of the chip itself. I don't know if there's even going to be epoxy over that. Interesting. And then that silicone is over the ribbon. It seems to be doing all right. And then the backlight. So we had two pins which seem to be going right into this acrylic assembly here. Let's get some more working distance. The opposite of whatever double insulated is, yeah. Also, check that out. I know I've seen this on a lot of LCD glass. Is that like a filling port, you think? So there's the 2 layers of glass, there's some adhesives. Yeah, I wonder if that's actually where they put the liquid in. Or maybe there's some other reason behind that, but there's like a little bump with a speck of paint and some glue or something. You can see the edges aren't even really square, they're just kind of cut, however. It's interesting. And then that's the polarizer on the front. So then behind the LCD, that pin, okay, so there's a circuit board, that kind of thing that looks a little bit like plywood, that's like the edge grain of a fiberglass circuit board, I think. Or maybe phenolic. There's some moisture inside there from my earlier cleaning, unfortunately. But it just looks like a strip of circuit board with some LEDs in series. And then there's another piece of like diffuser material that's kind of coming unglued on that side. So that's the backlight. Hopefully this thing still works. I don't really care that much about the image quality as long as I can use it as an audio recorder. Alright, and then this is the board that I want to take to the ultrasonic, maybe. So let's get the other board ready so that we can just put, like, bag both of these. There's some foam on this side of the board, which I don't know if that's going to survive the cleaning. This would have been underneath the LCD backlight. Looks like a really thin layer of open cell foam. Alright, let's take a look at the other board. I need to probably unplug the microphones from this one. Okay, so, oh geez, where is that going to go back? This is the power switch. Okay, that's the power switch. This is the mic gain switch. There's the volume knob. These are all different. That's fine. There's some moisture I'll want to take care of in this area. All of these parts can probably just go in a bag and get, well, except for yeah, this mic grill and mesh assembly I want to be gentle with, but like these plastic parts I could clean if I wanted to. I'm not seeing anything other than liquid. I think I got the actual residue out of this part already. There's another one of those little spring-loaded grounding assemblies up here. Alright, and then this little tray actually holds the mic elements, and it sits between the circuit board and this plastic housing. The mics all seem to plug in a pretty logical way. The connector is just closest to that corresponding element. So I think it'll be relatively easy to put this all back together if I just carefully unplug all the mic elements. All the connectors are keyed. Yeah, this has 4 microphones. You can use it in either a stereo or a surround sound mode. Alright, there's the mic elements. Let's get a close-up of that. So these are going to be electret mics. take out this remaining flat flex cable, just have that out of the way. So this thing has USB, it has local storage, an SD card, and it has like headphone output and line in and line out. So I expect a lot of this is just going to be audio amplifiers and preamplifiers and codecs. This looks like RAM. EM638165. And what is the sticker about? I think the sticker is actually unrelated to the RAM. It's just covering the battery contacts, because those would otherwise be kind of pointy right in that vicinity. So let's temporarily take this off. I think it'll go back on. That's just glued on. it took kind of sort of the labeling off, but you can still read it. It's like engraved, but the glue is filling in the engraving right there. Let's take this under the microscope next. Oh, and then there's another insulating doodad. Okay, so here's the other processor. This is a TMS320. Interesting. So why that and the proprietary chip? This one is harder to get off, but I think it's more necessary even because there actually seems to be some corrosion next to the memory over here. Yeah, it does. That one does look like RAM. I just wanted to get a better view. All right, so that comes off too. Okay. I think we've got everything clear. So there's a TMS320. That looks like flash, 29LV800. Main, TMS320 BC59908 or 5509. My first guess is that they might even be using some off-the-shelf code for the TMS320 that does audio compression and decompression, and then their chip is just like a rebranded microcontroller that's running the show. That would be my guess. It's a bit of a strange architecture. I don't know why the TMS320 isn't doing everything. It looks like the TMS320 is not connected to the SD card slot. Is that true? I might have to go to the microscope next. Oh, I should be recording this microscope footage. Let's start the microscope recorder. Hi, Meta. All right, microscope recorder. Okay, so those vias right there in the middle are the SD card interface. with like this bank of resistors here. Which does seem to go right onto this flex cable, actually. You know, it looks an awful lot like the Zoom chip on here is only handling the user interface, and all the actual audio recorder stuff is on the TMS-320. Which, again, from an architectural standpoint, kind of makes sense, but it makes you wonder what this chip is even doing here in the first place. Like, seems like kind of a questionable value add. Like, I wonder if this is even just some example firmware for the TMS-320 that they added a UI to. Maybe that's why it's so slow and clunky, UI-wise. Oh, there's some more corrosion on that side. There's the DSP. Is that LCC packaging? Kind of a strange chip carrier. So yeah, that's the DSP that I would imagine is handling like MP3 decoding and encoding. Possibly just using some other software that these folks didn't even write. There is a little bit of corrosion left on that battery terminal, you can see, even after I cleaned it. Some more around there. Yeah. Well, I mean, my intuition here is to do the same thing I tried with the other board, and like, I mean, we were trying to clean off flux before, but like, the combination of water and isopropanol in an ultrasonic bath seems like it would help. I mean, I don't think that'll actually dissolve these deposits, though, because like, I don't think these are really soluble. We might just have to go after them with a brush. And what's going on this side? So like this side seemed like it was a bunch of electrolytic caps up here. External mic input, line in. Nice to have those labeled. Oh yeah, where does the USB go? This thing does USB audio and USB storage. Is that an internal layer, maybe? Or am I missing something? Is it just weird lighting, or does that diode look a little discolored too? I think it might just be a reflection. So I'm expecting USB to be those middle two tiny vias there. So you can see the data plus and data minus pair. We have series resistors, which are pretty common. And then we would have big vias for power and little vias, or like these big vias I think are ground. And then there's some non-populated space for capacitors on the USB data lines, which would have been really tiny capacitors, but they probably didn't need those. Those might have been like an EMI, like get out of jail free card that they left themselves. But yeah, those two vias seem like where the USB would be going. And I don't see anything on the back, so I think those would be internal layers. Can we tell how many layers are going on here? does seem to have internal layers. I'm having trouble seeing exactly what's going on there. Oh, here we go. Looks like 3 internal layers. That doesn't make a lot of sense, though. Why would there be 3? I'm not used to 5-layer boards. I think it's just a 4-layer board. I think what we're seeing is like a spacer layer of resin in the middle, and then 2 double-sided plies. I think it just looks kind of weird over here, but I think we're seeing 4 layers there. So I'm gonna assume this is a 4-layer board, and the USB probably just goes to the TMS-320. I don't know how they would be doing USB audio if that wasn't the case. It seems an awful lot like their custom chip is just like a rebranded microcontroller that's running their terrible user interface, and that all the actual value here is in the TMS-320. So on, let's see, we've got a couple other chips here that might be interesting. I don't know what that would be. It's over near... Oh, is that maybe a headphone amplifier? I would expect it to be near more capacitance if it was a headphone amplifier, but maybe... Oh, there's a crystal right on the other side here. $20? It's labeled 20KD0B. Oh, 120? Is that 12 megahertz maybe? I would have expected it to be maybe a slightly weirder frequency, but maybe that's what they needed. So yeah, maybe that's a frequency synthesizer. What is that? Yeah, the corrosion is kind of nasty here. Let me know if you know of any better solutions for this, but I'm just going to try going after it with a brush a little bit. Just wanted to try to look up some of these chips really quick. LU04A. Oh, is this an inverter? Yeah, I think this is actually a logic chip. That's interesting. So this might actually be acting as an oscillator with that crystal, because a logic inverter would be a great building block for making a little crystal oscillator like that. So that might be providing some reference frequency for the TMS-320. Does it not have a built-in oscillator? Most processors have that oscillator part built in. There's some residue around here too. This is where the mics are actually plugged in. So the opposite side, I think, is where most of our analog goodies are stored away. We've got some transistors over here by maybe what looks like a power supply. I mean, there's an inductor here. There's a diode. It's possible that one of these is maybe a switching controller instead of a transistor. I don't know. Oh, or that's a switching controller. All right, so are these our A to D converters maybe? This is another TI part, which maybe we can Google for. Yes, low power stereo audio codec. This looks like... Yeah, this is the TLV 320 AIC 3204. Flexible low power, low voltage stereo audio codec with programmable inputs and outputs, power tune capabilities, fixed predefined and parameterizable signal processing blocks, integrated PLL, LDOs, and flexible digital interfaces. 2 of these for 4 channels. Alright, so the digital stuff is over here on the left. That's our RAM. That's the interface to the front-end board. Those are the 2 codecs. Then we've got, I assume these are op amps. This 2100 JRC looks familiar. The NJM 2100. I think this is a dual op amp from JRC. It does, I mean, an 8-pin package with passives in this configuration. It's pretty sure bet this is dual op amp, regardless of what the datasheet says, but yeah. It's a bunch of amplifier stages, and then this critter, what is that? Another TI part. They really like TI here. This, I wonder if this was a TMS 320 reference design that they hacked on and didn't even modify the TMS 320 firmware for, I wonder. I have very low confidence for just like how much firmware modification most people are going to make in a product. I think most people who make products try to hack at the firmware as little as possible before they have something that'll ship. Let's see, TI, YA 018 or 018, 9CK. Oh, an analog switch. This is probably a gain control. This is coming up as a TS3A5018 from TI. Yeah, YA018, this confirms it. Oops. So that's the marking we've got, and then this is an analog switch. So that's all, you know, pretty expected. We have audio amplifiers, codecs, a DSP. The only thing that's throwing me for a loop with this design is why they didn't just do the whole thing on the DSP. It seems like the DSP does everything good on this design, and they just have this microcontroller that's running kind of a lousy user interface. Alright, well let's try taking a brush to it a bit maybe. Oh, contact cleaner. Oh yeah, contact cleaner. Yes, very highly flammable. I wonder if I have some of that actually. Let me check. I mean, I have flux remover, which has some of the same stuff in it. Oh geez. Well, I've got deoxit. Safe on plastics, right? But is it safe on circuit boards? This seems like it might be on alright stuff. I forget whether I've tried this on circuit boards before. Maybe I can find an MSDS to see what's actually in here. Difluoroethane. And something they're calling deoxit series D100L. Let's see if we can find an MSDS. Is this the right stuff? I don't know if this is exactly what I've got, but it seems close. DS5S. Yes. Or DS5S-6 is what I've got, I think. That's the... Is that the size? But anyway, this is the right stuff. This is hazardous but not dangerous. Naphtha, difluoroethane, trade secret, whatever this stuff is, the D100L. Huh. Yeah, we can try some of this. I'm not gonna go as far as like trying to use this with the like bag and ultrasonic technique, but I will certainly scrub this circuit board a little bit with some of this. Alright. Let's start with this Zoom chip with the heavy corrosion. PPE, not personal protective equipment, but something else. Lubricant. Oh, interesting. Just catching up in chat slightly. Pakakizu says, keep an eye on the green vias. After cleaning, they're elusive and not conducting. You think you saw some vias that are corroded through? Is that what you're saying? I don't see any that are that bad on this board. Let me check the other board. Yeah, I mean, that seems like good advice. I hadn't noticed any vias that were really bad, but we should keep an eye out for that. I don't think this board is that bad. I think it just needs some cleaning. I don't think we need to like rebuild anything at this point. Knock on wood, I guess. Oh, Sedacious is asking if we're fixing water damage or leaky batteries. Yeah, some are column A, some are column B. It's mostly leaky battery, it seems. Do I not have a straw for this? Why don't I have a straw for this? Probably don't have a straw for it because Tuco stole it. Which, if Tuco's prone to stealing it, I probably just shouldn't have one because I don't want him stealing a straw full of this residue. Let's switch brushes, but I think we're onto something. I know a lot of people are like, you should just like watch more Louis Rossman and take his advice, because he does stuff like this all day. And I used to watch more of his show. I just can't take like his like approach sometimes. It's like I like what you're doing, dude. I'd watch your advice, but I don't necessarily want to listen to you talk all day. So I should see if he's got like some condensed tips and tricks I can take a peek at maybe. And I've certainly been working on small electronics for a long time, but I'm sure you look at, you know, water damaged circuit boards all day and you learn a thing or two about fixing them efficiently. I think I like his like electronic stuff. I think he was just too much of a troll for me. He was like, you know, like kind of borderline Gamergator kind of stuff, and I wasn't into that. This is doing a great job. Glad I'm wearing gloves. Yeah, the brush plus this deoxit is doing a really good job, it seems. I want to do like a rinse with isopropanol and or distilled water after this probably, but this is taking off the stuff nicely. I mean, probably a rinse with isopropanol because that'll help dry it. That'll displace the water. Yeah, oh, that's good. Let's keep this up on the rest of the board. Let's just give this board a good scrubbing on this side and the other side, and then rinse both sides with isopropanol and put it aside. Alright, that's good for that side. This other side doesn't have very much going on. I do want to kind of clean the area around the SD card a little. Oh geez, he had a Pepe frog? I missed that. That's worse than I thought. See, I got the impression that he just kind of like chuckled at having frogs in his comments. I didn't think he was a frog himself, but that's unfortunate. I hate being so judgy, man, but I also just don't want to surround myself with that much, you know, hatred and negativity. It's nice to find better people to hang out with, you know. Or cats. You know, cats are great. I like cats a lot. So what is this crystal? I assume this is just for like file system date and time stuff. Is there some adhesive here that I'm destroying? It looks like that is kind of glued in place. That's sad. There's some conductive debris over here. Oh, I see. Plausible deniability via fan mail. That's the way to do it, right? Oh, man. Yeah. There's so many people on YouTube that are relaxing and don't seem to, like, you know, like interacting with trolls. Like, even people that I really enjoy personally, like if they interact with the trolls too much, then it's just frustrating because it's like, I didn't come here for you to give the trolls airtime, right? I came here for like your stuff. So that gets frustrating too. It's a tough balance. I mean, I try to, on this channel, just like when I'm live streaming and trolls show up, I just try to kind of shut them down as quickly as possible and move on. Oh yeah, well, this is certainly the most thorough cleaning I've ever given this audio recorder. I've had this thing for a long time now. I did, well, most of my video voiceover on this thing, which is, you know, I've never had the ability to have just like super pristine audio on my stuff because I don't have a really quiet place to record. I've been thinking about whether I could try to approximate that by setting up an area like, oh, here's some green vias. Is that, how bad is this? Let's get closer. But yeah, maybe I can find like a little side space somewhere, like upstairs or in the printer closet when I'm not printing. It looks like there's still plenty of copper on there, but there is some corrosion inside one of those ground vias. It does seem to be part of the ground plane, so there's probably some redundancy there, but it's not good. Sedacious is asking if I like my stick vise for work holding for general soldering and stuff. I guess as compared to like helping hands or just taping things to the bench. Yeah, I find it super useful. I mean, sometimes taping a thing to the bench is better if you plan to put a lot of force on it, but like it depends on how you want to support it. I mean, it's hard to get something flat, and so with the microscope it's really nice. With the stick vise you can keep the work nice and flat. Jeez, that actually does not look good, does it? I wonder if I could put a tiny wire through that via to help it out. Most of these look fine. How am I doing on tiny wire? Oh, is this small enough? This might just barely be small enough. This might barely not be small enough. If it wasn't broken now, it sure will be after I force wire through it. Can I just like clean it with the tip of this wire slightly? It doesn't seem like the corrosion goes very deep, actually. It does seem like I could probably get some wire through there if I tried. I might need to go for something slightly smaller, like a strand. It seems like there's a decent amount of plating still left on there, though, now that I'm scraping it with the end of this wire a little bit. Alright. Yeah, let's maybe find a stranded wire that I can take apart to get something through that hole. This is the only via I've seen so far that I'm even slightly worried about, and this one's probably fine, but if we can, it'd be nice to reinforce it. You could also save this for after the cleaning. I'm just a little worried I wouldn't notice which one it was. I'd have to hunt it down all over again. Is there something under the other side of that? Is there a chip or something? Oh, darn. Yeah, that goes right under the zoom chip, which I don't want to take off. So if there is a problem with that, we'll just have to connect the ground. I mean, that via might actually be supplying ground to some pins on this chip, but it looks like there are other grounds, like right there. So I think we're probably fine. I think I'm just going to rinse this one, and then we can do the contact cleaner on the other board. Yeah, Ryan says, good thing you didn't get the drill out. Yeah, exactly. Might end up decapping the chip. I haven't quite dissolved the markings yet, but that might happen. So I think the goal behind that is that this solvent, the deoxit stuff, that plus all the scrubbing dissolves everything that I care to remove, and then this wash actually transports the residue off the circuit board and onto these wipes. And then the remaining solvent evaporates without leaving any residue. That's the goal here. Alright, takes the rest of that mark off. Yeah, I don't even remember what kind of battery I had in this thing in, because when I opened it up, the battery wasn't even there. There was just the corrosion. So I think I must have taken the battery out previously, noticed the corrosion, but didn't get around to fixing it. And so here I am. Left myself a gift for my future self, right? Okay, I think this board is done, at least as far as this cleaning cycle goes. I don't know if we'll need to do any more work, but I'm gonna put this aside. It looks nice, at least. I don't see any residue. I mean, this looked terrible when I first opened it up, right? This chip was all green and stuff. Everybody's like, we can't see it, it's all blurry. I'm like, I know, give me a sec. There's the cleaner Zoom MPU1 chip. Man, this stuff is actually pretty nice. Who would have thought just some volatile fluorocarbons would do the job? That's things you can get away with when you're not doing it on an industrial scale, right? Like, in aggregate, fluorocarbons are pretty bad. Right here on my desk, in small quantities, I'm not too fussed about them. Alright, next board. Trusted to leak everywhere, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna avoid drawing any conclusions about specific battery brands because I don't think I've really noticed any patterns. Like, I think any manufacturer can make a battery that leaks, because I think any battery can leak if you leave it alone long enough. But maybe, I don't know, maybe some manufacturing techniques are better at avoiding that. So I don't. I'd actually be curious to know more about the chemical mechanism behind batteries leaking, because I've been assuming it's like a form of well, like I mean, obviously there isn't a perfect seal to begin with, so there's that. But I think that part of it is that the stuff in the battery is actually like kind of pushing out slightly. But I'm curious about that. I thought it was related to over discharging alkaline cells, especially, but I don't actually know why that would be. Like, I assume that the root cause is something about the chemistry of the battery causing pressure to build up or causing like something to start crystallizing where it shouldn't be. But then at some point, like that chemical root process would cause the seal on the battery to fail. I don't want particles of this to get all over this other board. I'm going to cover it with a towel. There was a lot of corrosion around both of the memory chips because these were kind of near the battery contacts that were corroding. Still curious what the job of that user interface chip is. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a completely rebranded STM32 or something. But it could be pretty much anything. It wouldn't need hardly any processing power to just throw something up on the LCD and then talk to the DSP that's doing all the real work. So I usually use lithium, or I use nickel metal hydride with this recorder. So I was surprised too, like I don't know if I've had nickel metal hydride batteries leak. Certainly not as often as alkaline. But this thing also doesn't do super well with nickel metal hydride. It doesn't like the lower voltage. It's alright at it, but it doesn't get much battery life. So maybe this is one of those things I'll want to use lithium cells for. Assuming this thing keeps working. Like, we might have also just found my excuse to get a slightly less old and weird audio recorder. I don't know, there's nothing really wrong with this one though, so I didn't really have a reason to upgrade. It's just like a little bit clunky, but it works fine. To make sure I get all the stuff off this side before any of it dries, I'm going to do one wash with alcohol right away. And then contact cleaner on the other side, and then a final alcohol wash. This technique seems to be working all right, but you know, the proof will be when it actually powers on correctly. These are actually the culprit battery contacts too, so like this is an opportunity to clean the whole thing. And then the flash chip right under the battery contacts. Hopefully that still has the right code on it. That would be a serious problem if it didn't for some reason. That would require a series of failures though. Oh, interesting. NiCads ooze potassium hydroxide. Yeah, I've got mostly the like Amazon / Sanyo nickel metal hydrides in my shop right now. So that's what I was, that's what I was about to put in this thing. I've got like these over here. Made in Japan, so it's probably a Sanyo cell. There was also some corrosion over here next to this microphone jack. Oh no. Illusis is relating how they have some mystery corrosion, and it might be correlated with that time that their cat took a leak on their computer. Yeah, that does sound like it would not be great for exposed metal with DC voltages. Well, I think we took care of it all. Let's give this side a wash. Okay, well, after this is dry, I think we could try reassembling it a little bit and see if this thing works. Maybe while these boards are drying, we can take a chance to do any last cleanup on the plastics that we need to do. Let's take a look at that. I just had some pieces over here that had some kind of watery residue on them that I might just like rinse that with isopropanol. These are just buttons and stuff. I don't think there was anything actually stuck to these. I just want to make sure that any liquids are forced away. Alright, and then these two closure halves. Just squirting a little bit of isopropanol on some areas where I know there was some of that vinegar solution before, just to try to wash it away. But trying not to get it all over this foam and trying not to knock out this little conductive piece. Alright, and then this half. So this has the SD card door. There's also a little membrane keypad, which doesn't seem like it comes out easily. I'm mostly going to focus on the SD card door area here. I know there was some of that like vinegar and battery acid solution over there. Okay. Let's do some combination of letting this stuff dry and reassembling it. It is tempting to try to match that zoom chip to some microcontroller pinout. I'm wondering if it is just STM32 or a PIC or something. Reassembling this stupid copper piece. There's a little bit of corrosion on this little copper wire. I don't know if I care though. It's just so little. Might be nice to clean that actually. This little piece of copper. This is what helps ground the grill around the microphone capsules from electrical interference. I need just a little squirt of the contact cleaner. Tiny piece of copper wire with a little bit of corrosion on the end. I'm just trying to rub it off with the fingertips of my gloves here. That seems to be doing the trick. And let's rinse that with isopropanol. Might need to do that same thing to the other of the two springs. It's still raining outside. I'm getting so much rain so far this year. Oh, this other one is way taller. Look at that. This one also doesn't seem to want to come out. I don't know if it's stiffer or whether it's actually heat staked in place or something. think this one's alright. I think I can just leave this one. I don't see a lot of corrosion there. Okay. So now this board, I think next step is, I guess, to attach the microphone capsules and the cable that I removed from this board, maybe. How does this fit? Yeah, I think it was like that. There we go. Took a couple of tries to get it in there straight. Alright, that is locked in. Now, microphone assembly. Goes in like that. Or is it like this? This was labeled. It has to be like this. Also. That looks right. Just plugging in each microphone. They all have little connectors. They're so cute. And the cables are out of the way. Now that assembly, I think I'm also missing these little stickers that go on top of the memory. Yeah, there was this one that goes under the RAM, or under the battery contacts on top of the flash. Seems to be sticky enough still. And then this one sticks onto this chip. So nice of them to use the chips as mounts to keep the battery terminals insulated. There's still a little bit of isopropanol in there, making the glue a little gummy, but as soon as the isopropanol dries, the glue should set. Well, that seems fine. Alright. Now this goes back in. There's several things that have to line up. The battery terminals have to go inside the battery case. The microphone capsule here has to sit on these posts without the wires getting in the way. And this little grounding spring has to touch the corresponding pad on the circuit board. Huh. That's weird. Oh yeah, so I was confused by this plastic. It looks like there's a post on top here. I don't know what that is. I think that might be just to press against the board and set the distance to the whole assembly. then there's the wire. Then below the wire there's a light pipe that goes out to this microphone active LED. And that's on the circuit board right below where that copper spring lands. Alright, mic capsules look fine. Oh, I'm going to have to put the buttons in too. Alright, that's all lining up so far, but it needs buttons. Oh, it needs these whole like rail assemblies too. I should put all that back in. Okay, missed a step. All this stuff has to go back in. So, which order did these go in? That gives little hollows for the 1/8" jacks here, and then the button rocker. Or in this case, it's a slider for the mic gain. And this is going to have to match whatever position the switch is in on the circuit board, I assume. How does that work? Yeah, here we go. There's a little sliding plastic bit here, and then there's a concavity there that catches the actual switch on the circuit board and moves it back and forth. So that'll have to match as soon as we put this together. And similar thing on the other side. So yeah, there's another 1/8" jack. There's the DC power, DC power jack. There's the volume rocker. So yeah, this is asymmetric also. The bottom half of it acts as a spring, I think. And then the top half has these two little nubs that press against the actual PCB mounted buttons. That. And one more little slide switch. This one is actually the... What is this one? There should be an on-off switch. This way. This spot right here. The on-off switch is so little. That looks right though. Now all of this stuff just has to line up perfectly. Most of the same concerns, making sure the mic capsule doesn't squish any wires, making sure the battery contacts are in the right spot, but now also lining up the switches. Maybe the mic capsule goes on the top side of the circuit board. Yeah, I think I misremembered how this sits. So this would come out and then sit on top, also without squishing any wires. Does that make more sense? That does not make more sense. I think I was right the first time. The mechanical design is weird. It's almost like they wanted things to be so tight around the mic capsule that the whole circuit board is under a little bit of flex. Start putting some of this back together. All four of those screws are the case screws. The only screws that go in right now are these two screws. I'm pretty sure the circuit board was on top of the mic capsule board. Checking again that I'm not squishing anything and that things are lined up. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna check the switches now. That seems fine. That seems fine after it clicks into place. Volume seems fine. Okay, I think all that's right. I'm gonna tighten these a little bit more. And now, I think the next thing to do is to solder the backlight back onto the circuit board up here. We don't have to do that now, we could test it without the backlight, but we might as well. It's easy to get back off, and I think we've done the job. I mean, we might be able to test this with just these boards like clipped back together slightly. It's just because of all the flex cable, it's actually just probably a little easier to test this if we just put it completely back together. These are labeled cathode and anode even, K and A. I don't have a great ability to make sure that this is especially flat, so I'm just gonna put it down on some soft surface while I solder. Try to make sure it's flat-ish. When I say soft surface, I mean a 9-volt battery with a Kim wipe on top. This is like setting the actual orientation of the LCD on the device. So I think I just want to kind of do this by eye and solder one of these and then go back and do a proper soldering job. Tack that down. Did it tack? I guess we have one more degree of freedom in that the adhesive holding the backlight onto the LCD is a little bit squishy. Oops. That was not quite as tacked as I thought. Alright. I need to add a little bit more solder to that top joint for this to work the way I was planning on. See if that's flat enough. Oh, that is kind of flat. Oh, maybe I can do this with the board actually in the housing. That would be great, actually. I don't know why I didn't think of that already. Let's try just putting this in the housing. So this piece comes off. I think maybe this just goes under. Oh, maybe this, yeah. I don't think that does come off. I think. That sits under there. That goes up here. Oh! The board goes under there, and then this presses it down. That's kind of clever. I don't think I disassembled this correctly. Yeah, maybe this is actually how it has to go together. Let's desolder that again. Clean out that hole real good. This is redundant. It was clean just a second ago, but... little flux residue there isn't going to do much harm. So now, LCD looking pretty pristine. We drop that in here. This is also an opportunity to see how much dirt there is between the LCD and the front panel. Not enough to bother me. Now the circuit board goes on top. Circuit board has to line up just right with this peg. Yeah, it's got to be designed to be soldered together in this position, or with an equivalent jig. And then this piece has to go in again, this way. Seems kind of right. Oh. Did I paint myself into a corner with that? Sprung. That. delicate LCD connector seems fine. This little spring needs to go back again. Now I think we can put the two halves together. I think all the microphone wires are out of the way. I don't think I'm going to have extra parts left over. They must have had a fairly different test jig for like developing this thing. It's just getting access to any of this stuff. I mean, they must have had a different like partial enclosure that they built for it. I keep threatening to push these buttons out of their sockets here. This is how they make sure, you know, you don't get it back together after you take it apart. If you subscribe to all that, like, the manufacturers made it non-repairable on purpose kind of stuff. I mean, sometimes that's the case for sure, but a lot of the times it's just this extra design step to actually make it easy for the end user to repair that most companies wouldn't bother with. Oh man, come on, flat flex. Okay, I think I got the flat flex in the right spot. Okay, that was pretty hard to get on camera because, like, that's what I'm dealing with, but, like, you can't really take it apart any more than that. It may be that they've designed it to be easier to take out on that side, so maybe that's what I do next time. Yeah, neither one is great, right? Oh, you're right, I hadn't soldered the backlight yet. I can still do that from here. We could do that here, completely right, I'm just forgetting steps. I hope some of you are enjoying the sound of rain. Oh, Jan's saying that the cat that peed in their computer was stressed by a new cat in their territory or something. Yeah, that's understandable. Cat politics can be just super intense for everyone involved. Alright. The backlight, such as it is, should be alright now. Thanks for the reminder. That would have been like a, why isn't it turning on moment in a few minutes. That's right, and then this actually clips together in kind of a weird way too, doesn't it? It's kind of... Whoa. Okay, this is super weird. See, how did this even come apart in the first place? There are these two tabs that stick out that interfere with this rim around this case. I don't know how I got this out in the first place. Does this piece come off? I don't think so. Well, we could test it now, because electrically it's assembled. It's just not quite mechanically assembled. Let's just do that. So we've got some nickel metal hydride batteries. There's still a little bit of visible precipitation of some sort on that connector, but it's mostly fine. Power is starting out off for good luck. Contact. Whoops. If I could actually get this to mate with this switch. Just mechanically, this thing does not want to actually operate unless it's actually closed up. Maybe I'll use a little tweezer to turn it on. Oh, it's booting. Oh, that's a good sign. This is much more alive than it was before we started. Which way does this plug in? I thought it was this way. Oh no, the picture says this way. And it's not quite lined up because it's not completely assembled. Okay, maybe that needs work. Can I see if the VU meter works? Okay, so we lost date and time, which is fine. No data. Are we in recording mode? I think it doesn't even want to go into recording mode without the card. Can I get the card in? The card is kind of stuck in there now. Let's take a closer look at why this misalignment is so bad. Yeah, the card holder was starting to seem like it was coming unglued earlier. It'd be cool if I could get some indication that the microphones are working before I seal it up much more. This thing is such a pain. Let's get the batteries out at least. All right. Oh, this little clippy thing's kind of stuck too. Oh. Apparently it was also in the way of the SD card door closing. There's like a SD card door latch mechanism on here, which I don't quite understand. I think that's related to these two curved pieces of plastic on this piece. Can the card move more freely with that piece unmounted? Yeah. Yeah, it's fine without that piece mounted, presumably incorrectly, like I just had it. Let's see if I can get that in place with both the SD card and with that door fully closed. That's better, but it still feels terrible. I'm gonna just lightly set it on here for the moment until I figure out how the whole case is supposed to close properly. I'll at least put the SD card back in. Is this piece upside down? I thought I remembered it going in this way, but it sure would explain some things if it was upside down. Ooh. Well. Oh, no, it was not upside down, but there's a different problem. It actually has to fit onto the edge of the circuit board. Oh, wow. This thing has a weirder assembly procedure than I imagined. So this comes out. So, I don't know what the proper order is with that and this flex cable. I'm just going to try to avoid breaking the flex cable. But this seems to clip onto the edge of the circuit board. Like that. So it constrains it in from going up or down. There's a little clip on the edge. And that is just so weird to me. And then that has to be in place on the top. And then that whole thing slides down on here without getting in the way of this door somehow. Ooh, I think I might have broken the door. Oh well, I didn't need that anyway. It was in the way. Okay, that seems to fit with the broken SD card door out of the way. And that seems to fit. It's no longer twisting the circuit board or whatever it was doing. Great. The next unresolved problem is I don't know how to get this little tab to fit. I think it needs to fit under this ridge. Oh, geez, the stupid copper spring keeps falling out. As soon as I get this working, something super noisy is going to start happening outside. I won't be able to get any voiceover. That's just how this is going to work. I'm going to have to get the flex cable on before I put this together for real. I'm just trying to see how this could fit together. I don't understand how this mic capsule fits together now. I really don't see how this fits together. I mean, it really seems like I'd probably put the mic capsule in upside down. That's the only thing that makes sense at this point. I was pretty sure I got it right, but let's take another look at this. Yeah. So I think if I turn this around, oh wow. It looks like the angle of all these microphones was to some degree calibrated. Like there's a little movable piece that was glued into place. It don't seem that precise, so I wonder why it was done that way. Maybe that's to isolate the mics from each other. Maybe that's like a rubber plug. It feels like a different material. So yeah, maybe that's a plastic bracket and then they plug the bottom under each mic with rubber to keep the mics more isolated from each other. think the way this goes together would have to be that these posts, yeah, I need to get these cables out of the way. Alright, so I need the wires to, half of them go under the board and half of them go over the board. And then this piece has to fit in under the circuit board. And then there's a little, yeah, that definitely, that's right. And this sits right on that that shelf on the edge of the surround around the capsule. So that's right, I just had that upside down. Are these connectors keyed? Yes, they're keyed. It's kind of subtle, but they're keyed. Blades are closer to one side than the other. I lost the power button again. It seemed like Tuco would enjoy some company, but when he was sharing space with other cats, it was mostly stressful. Maybe it would be different with different personalities involved, but the particular cats did not seem to be good with each other. Okay, just got the power switch reinstalled. I think the buttons are holding in place. Okay, that feels better. Okay, the heights on the circuit board make more sense. I no longer have that slight board flex that I was confused by last time, which this makes much more sense. The thing that I wasn't really expecting was the way that this mount for the microphones actually fits around the post rather than on top of it. That's what was providing that little bit of height difference that I needed. And I back these out a little, find the threads, and then tighten them down. Okay, that's feeling more solid now. Let's open up this ZIF socket, get this flex cable in again. This flex cable is still not very convenient. Alright, it is lined up. I just need to close the ZIF socket. Maybe now I can actually test to see if the mics are all working properly and the SD card is accessible. Alright, so that connector is in place again. I think now there is enough room. Yes. So the mic capsule fits up in here. There's a snap right at the top. Oh yeah, and then the case closes. Sweet. Before I put the screws and the stickers on, let's just try this with some batteries. Let's get some headphones and an SD card. I was momentarily tempted to plug the connector into my ear and just like put these on here. That's not how these work. It's okay, I know how to use headphones. You don't have to worry about me. Alright, I heard a little audio click. Do we know if the backlight works? Oh, I'm hearing some hum. I am not hearing microphones. Oh, here we go. I forgot you have to arm recording mode before you can actually hear anything, and now it definitely sounds like a microphone. Alright, and now I'm actually recording. It sounds awful as I actually mash the case, but if I just sit that on the ground, it's alright. Getting a lot of reflected sound off the desk. I think we fixed it. I think it just, I mean, it's just cleaning, right? But, that was all it needed. The Yeti on Twitch chat, I just noticed they said if Tuco had a tortoise buddy, you could have a ground level camera platform too. I like the way you think. Oh, there was just a nice pop as this case pounced open. Ooh. So, this actually has multiple mics. There's front. Can I switch while I'm recording? I don't think I can. Okay, so that turned off. Right, that switches mics. This rear mic. Okay, that sounds different, but fine. I don't think I can switch these while the recording's armed. Weird. See, and the menu here is so annoying. It's like I'm in recording armed mode. If I press record again, recording will start. But actually I just wanted to change the microphones, which I don't think I can do from this mode. And these aren't even buttons, the rec level. That's just indicating that you can use this for the same purpose. There's also a hardware recording level switch over here. Yeah, but I think, see, if I press menu, it's like we're in recording mode. You can't have the menu now. So I have to start recording and then stop recording to get back to switching microphones. So now I'm recording. I can't switch mics. If I stop recording, we please wait. Then it turns off the amplifier, and then I can switch mics. Oh, good. Now we've got VU meters for everybody. Okay, so it's armed but not quite recording. Now it's counting. So this might be the easiest way to actually test whether I did a reasonable job reassembling it, because I'll actually have a 4-channel WAV file, but the VU meters on the screen are giving me a pretty good indication that this is fine. Let's put the rest of the screws and stickers and stuff back in, and then maybe we can just like verify that these files were written properly. Not a hardware power switch. You turn it off and the firmware is like, we better stop what we're doing. Goodbye. Alright, so there was a little sticker that just goes at the front to indicate which channel is which, I guess. It'd be funny if I put this on backwards. I think this is right though. There's actually even a little polarity marker on the case so that you can't put it on backwards. There's this tiny notch. I don't know if that's going to stay stuck though. The adhesive doesn't seem especially great. Oh yeah, and this does have a battery door. I also have a little silicone cover for it, which I took off prior to cleaning, but I usually keep it in there too. I don't know if this is actually useful, but I had it. I think it came with the recorder. Welcome to the cleaning channel. I'm alright with the cleaning channel sometimes. Alright, let's see what this sounds like. I'm just going to make sure I have audio routed from my demo machine. We'll just plug it in there. We have auxiliary. I'm realizing two things concurrently. One, that, oh, I lied. I was going to say I didn't have an SD card reader within arm's reach, but I did. I was also thinking it'd be nice to test the USB, and you can use this as a USB storage reader. Let's actually try the USB port just to make sure that works also. I'll be right back with a cable. The gimbal keeps going into vibration mode and then back out. Come on, gimbal. That's still another unresolved bug where it's got the gimbal kind of outside the zone where it's stable, which it detects, but then it immediately ends up getting driven back into that range by the computer vision because it doesn't reset the computer vision region. Anyway, this should be plugged into the demo machine. So it also started up without me having to slide the power switch on, so it's got some logic so that it turns on if this is on or if there's external USB power. Now it's asking if it wants me to, if I want it to be a storage device or an audio interface. Let's be storage today. Please wait. And then presumably it's telling the TMS-320 to be a storage adapter. And now I've got this H2 down here, full speed. So yeah, it is a mass storage device, SD card reader. Oh yeah, there's like some old stuff on here maybe. Do we have date stamps? Oh, I see. We got two WAV files for the 4-channel recording from the front and the rear speakers. Do I have a volume control? As usual, I'm wishing I had all the mixer knobs within arm's reach, but maybe I'll just open this in VLC or something. Maybe let's try copying these files off before opening them. That seemed okay. A little slower than I would have expected, but this is full speed USB. Oh, sorry. I really should have been monitoring that. What do we got? You know what, maybe I should format this card and then try to do a fresh recording, because there's probably a bunch of junk on here that I don't want to go through. Let's go back to standalone mode. This thing is so slow. Oh, it does have an option for nickel metal hydride batteries. I just never found that to work super well. Does this not have a format card thing? It has a metronome and a tuner built in, sort of. The backlight is actually on, it's just not very bright. It's on a 15-second timer. Okay, well, maybe I'll just, what am I gonna do? Format this card and then try, like, it seems like the USB interface works, just not very well, which is kind of, I think, normal for this device. Is this plugged directly in? Man, I love getting ergonomics advice on Twitch chat. It's like my favorite way to get ergonomics advice. Alright, let's see if that is any nicer. No card. Okay, so we're still in 4-channel surround mode. Why is it saying no card still? Does it want me to power cycle it? Loading. Yeah, I don't know where Tuco is. I mean, we were looking at him on the rack earlier today, but I think he went upstairs. Why are we spending so much time loading? What are we even loading? Turning it off doesn't seem to help either. Now we're back at the point where this thing works as well as it ever did, and unfortunately that's the problem. At least I think. I mean, I want to verify that I can actually record and then get data off of this thing, but I think it looks like it's working. Did I somehow get this SD card into a state where it does not want to load the file system? I ejected the card, and now it's asking me if it wants me to format it. I'm going to put it back in, and then say yes. It doesn't want to format. Now it says no card. And this could be a bad contact on the insertion switch sensor. Let's try powering it off with no card in and then inserting it in case it was just like getting confused by not finding the file system it wanted, maybe. Is it possible that this is sensing when the door is closed instead of when the card is in? I don't think that's how this ever worked. I don't know how it would actually sense the door location. The door that's now no longer working. Well, this is frustrating if it's not going to recognize the SD card. I mean, I can use it as a USB audio interface, but I can't do the thing that I was trying to do today with this. What if I started up with the SD card in there? And it was working before, so like it seems more likely this is a format-related problem than I could just try a different SD card first of all. See, now it's crashed again. Oh, no, actually I guess it did come back. It was sitting there saying loading even after I turned off this power switch, but then it came back out of that. Here's another SD card. Oh, is this write protected? It is. Let's undo that. Let's try that again. Turn it on. This is a 4 gig card, which I think just has some Blackmagic installers, because this came with something. Oh, was it just taking a while to create directories or whatever it likes to do? Anyway, it looks like we're recording from the front mics. Let's just try this in the mode I'm likely to actually use it in. Because like I hardly ever use this thing in surround sound mode. Low cut off, rec mode, let's do 48 kilohertz. All of that looks fine. Okay, so it should be recording now. If I plugged my headphones into this, I should be able to monitor the recording. I was doing that earlier successfully. I think right now I'm just gonna stop it in a sec and see if we can read the file off, and then if that works, I'm gonna try to record some voiceover with this, because that's what I want to be doing with my time. All right. So we stopped recording. I'm gonna turn this off. Then eject the card, and stick this in the computer. Oh, which one of these did it write it to? I guess we had two partitions on that SD card. Looks like the win. So then folder 1, yeah. VLC crash or something. It's opening the error and warning box without any errors or warnings in it. It's like a 6.5 meg WAV file. I wonder if VLC doesn't like the 24-bit or something. Do I have any better software on here? Oh, I have Ableton on here. Why do I even have Ableton on this computer? Not that I'm complaining. Oh. Really? Why is it? Okay, maybe I should have been monitoring that with headphones. I got an empty audio file. Alright, headphones back into this recorder. And maybe let's format this SD card while we're here. Can we not partition an SD card from here? Really? Oh, I'll just do this with another tool sometime. I don't really care right now. Check. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything. And the VU meters are... Oh. Oh. I forgot how low the low gain mode on this thing is. I think that was the problem. Is it really that low? This is high gain. This is medium gain. So high gain is, I think, the usual mode I use this thing in. Like, I'm just talking at a normal volume from a couple feet away, and it's filling up like half the VU meter. That's like negative 24 decibels, which seems all right. If I'm just like quietly talking close to it, I can overload it. So I think if I was trying to get like a really close recording, then I'd probably use medium gain. Yeah, mid gain. Okay, mid gain sounds fine right here. So if I want to get like a really close sounding voiceover, I'd want a pop filter because that's full of pops already. I have a pop filter, it's just at my other desk. So that's probably normal. But it was all the way down. It was all the way down here, and I've got to like, this is like from miking instruments or concerts. This is not what I wanted, so I think that was the problem. Anyway, I think this is recording. Let's see if we've actually got a file now. Anima Core is asking if there's a volume gain switch and a volume wheel. There are multiple adjustments. There's the switch we were just looking at is mic gain. There's also an adjustable mic volume from like 0 to 100 that you set in software using the menus. There's also a monitor volume, which you set using these buttons, which is also adjusted in software. Well, this is start to scanline ASMR. I mean, that's what I want this thing for, basically, is like for getting like nice, like more intimate sounding voiceovers that don't have as much shop noise in it. But then we had to clean it. Okay, same thing. That's the recording we just made. What does that look like? Yay, look at them waves. That's better. Why am I not hearing audio out this machine? Oh, right. This was a different mixer channel than I actually had. This is a fishbowl recorder. Oh! I forgot how low the low gain mode on this thing is. I think that was the problem. Is it really that low? This is high gain. It's medium gain. So high gain is, I think, the usual mode I use this thing in. Like, I'm just talking at a normal volume from a couple feet away, and it's filling up like half the view. Oh, is it speeding this up? I think this might be warping this clip because it detected a BPM. Yeah, okay, it detected a BPM here. Let's not warp it. Oh! That's like negative 24 decibels. Which seems alright. If I'm just like quietly talking close to it, I can overload it. So I think if I was trying to get like a really close recording, then I'd probably use medium gain. Mid gain? Okay, mid gain sounds fine right here. So if I want to get like a really close sounding voiceover, I want a pop filter because that's full of pops already. Yeah, let's head in the right direction. I have a pop filter, it's just at my other desk. So that's probably normal, but it was all the way down. It was all the way down here, and I've got to like, this is like from miking instruments or... Okay. I think we're done. Hopefully that was kind of interesting. I might be able to use this footage to make something quick, at least. Make something from my little failure. And I'm glad we didn't have to do any power supply repair on this thing. I was a little worried that we might have had some more permanent damage, but it just needed a cleaning. It needed a lot of cleaning, but it needed just cleaning. So yeah. Thanks for joining, as always. It's nice having some company to record the footage and do the teardowns and the build-ups and the sprint sideways and the whatever else goes into this channel. So yeah, thanks for stopping by, and thanks for hanging out. And I'll try to crank out the edited videos as much as I can, but also try to be streaming. I'm trying to aim for streaming maybe closer to every other day than every day, but it'll still be pretty frequent. So if you like these streams, keep checking them out at scanlime-in-progress or the Scanlime Live Twitter account. And yeah, if you're just here for the edited videos, I'll be putting those out on the main YouTube channel. So yeah. Thanks for hanging out, and a special thanks to everyone who supports the channel by sharing it with their friends and sending in hardware and helping me pay the shop rent via Patreon contributions. Yeah, that's what keeps us going, and I'll just try to do my part and get this footage off of my NAS and onto YouTube as quickly as I can. I'm kind of a pack rat with the footage, which is useful in some ways and not useful in other ways. I had been holding on to a bunch of footage that I'd already edited even, and that was just like filling up my NAS. And so I recently did a big purge and deleted a bunch of stuff that I'd already edited to make room for stuff that hasn't been edited. And I still have stuff that doesn't even fit on the NAS that is awaiting editing. But yeah, working on my backlog. And yeah, I will see you folks next time. Thanks so much for hanging out. Maybe next time we'll see more of Tuco. He was sleepy upstairs for a lot of today's stream. Happy hacking, folks.